Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching another video. So I've now had Optics HH1 holographic sight for a few months now, and I've gotten pretty familiar with it. So I think it's now time to compare it head to head with its nearest competition, the Eotech 512. And as always, guys, if at the ending of the video you want to purchase either of these holographic sights, make sure to check out the link in the description below because you do get a commission if you purchase either of these items. And I've also included a separate link for Optics to give you a bigger discount. Let's begin with a look at the hard cases that these holographic sights come with. So here's a look at the Eotech, where it's got these slide locks here. Right, that's decent. Here's a look at the Optics. Lot smaller in size, a little bit heavier plastic here. And this is just a flip lock here. And that's just a preview for the size differences between these two. Look at that. All right, let's go after it. Can't ignore the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Look at the size difference between these two. Lenses, pretty much the same size, but look at how much more rail space you pick up with the Neo. Now, the main reason that the 512 is heavier and takes up more space on your rail is the fact that it uses two AA batteries, while the HH1 just uses one single CR123A battery. Let's have a look at the weight difference here. So here's the 512 with the two AA batteries installed, coming in at around 11.5 ounces. Neo HH1 with its 123A battery coming in 7.1 ounces. So literally you save on rail space and weight with the Neo HH1 versus the Eotech 512. Now, just to give you a weight reference for what 4.4 ounces might feel like, if you got 5 AA batteries around the house, that'll get you pretty close between the weight difference between the HH1 and the 512. Let's have a look at the waterproof rating now. The 512 is water resistant up to 10 feet. While the HH1 actually has an IP rating of IP67, so this is 100% dustproof and can stay submerged in about a meter of water for at least 30 minutes. Advantage, Neo. Now, as far as using the 512 with night vision goggles, the Eotech website says that this is really not compatible, while the Neo HH1 has a specific night vision goggle mode. So if you're into doing that, the Neo HH1 has the advantage. Now, one of the very few things that really irritates me about the 512 is that the controls are in the front of the sight here. So if it's mounted on your rail like this, you got to get your face out of the way to make your adjustments. While the HH1 has side buttons that are much easier to control. There's basically nothing on the other side here. And to me, that's a major benefit to have side buttons versus having them in the front here. Also take into consideration the construction and the materials used on the 512 to keep the cost down. You got a lot of plastic here. The hood is aluminum, like this is great. But most of this is plastic. While the HH1 is all 6061 aluminum. And to me, that's a more rugged build than the 512. A lot of plastic versus aluminum. Now, you would think with all of the advantages that the HH1 has over the 512, and this being a new brand, that it would be a little bit more expensive, if not the same price as the 512. But when you look both of these holographic sights up on the internet, the 512 is almost always more expensive than the HH1. So for me, the Optics HH1 is by far the clear better value. Next up, I just want to run down a quick list of similarities between the HH1 and the 512, just to show you that the designers of the HH1 are really trying to seriously compete with the 512. They both attach to the same rail systems, Weaver and Picatinny. They both have half-inch MOA adjustments. Both use circle dot reticles that have a low battery indicator where the reticle will blink off and on when the battery is running low. The lens sizes are basically the same. The thickness of the lenses are basically the same. They both use anti-reflective coatings. Internally, these are both purged to stop moisture from collecting on the inside. Eotech doesn't specify what they use. The HH1 does use nitrogen to stop that moisture from accumulating on the inside. And they both have 10-year warranties, so very, very similar in a lot of features. Gonna close it up by going over some of the differences between these two, and they're so insignificant to me. but they're worth bringing up. So the first thing is the brightness settings. The 512 has 20 brightness settings, while the HH1 has 10. Now for me, when I'm using any kind of sight, it's either on medium or high. So to me, not a big difference between 20 brightness settings and 10. Next up, the HH1 will shut off after 30 minutes of usage, while the 512 you can either set to shut off after 4 or 8 hours. So to some people that might be a little bit of a nuisance, but to me, not a big deal. Next up is the MOA of the reticle. The Eotech 512 is set at 68 MOA, while the HH1 is at 65. Visually, the reticles are the same size, but it's just a matter of what it's scaled to as far as a human-sized target. So that's going to be a little bit different between the two, but visually, you can't tell the difference between a 65 and a 68 MOA reticle. And lastly, I want to bring up battery life. Now, on the Optics website, it says that you get about 750 minutes off of one CR123A battery. Now, according to the Eotech website, you're going to get 2,500 hours of continuous usage if you use lithium AA batteries at room temperature on setting 12, and about 2,200 hours with regular alkaline batteries like this. Now, they had to put some kind of stat up there, but guys, if we're shooting outdoors, we're not going to be on 12. It's going to be toward the higher end, and we're not going to be at room temperature. And very slight fluctuations in temperature affects these batteries by a lot. So my best guess is average maybe between 800 and 1,000 hours of continuous usage with the way that we're going to use it. Well, all right, guys, there you go. That's a long list of features to prove that the Optics HH1 has a lot of more features that make it better than the Eotech 512. And at this price point, a way better value. So if you're looking for a great holographic sight, this might be a great option for you. Well, all right, guys, this is the ending of the video. Remember, if you want to purchase either of these awesome holographic sights, make sure to check out the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.